inside the boat. It is very important. It is very important. If you get lost, you have to find. We are going to be many groups in the city center. Yeah, so if you get lost, try to find another guide, and they will phone the boat, and they will arrange for you to come back with another bus. Yeah, coming back to San Francisco in 2013 and then to the Bermudas. So if you look now on the right hand side, you can see the original warehouses, the original buildings of the harbor of Valencia. You may recognize the modernist style, Art Nouveau, modernism, with a combination of different materials like iron, wood, glass and ceramic. Today in Valencia we are going to discover all the heritage that we have. Art Nouveau, modernism, architecture. The beginning of the 20th century, it was very important for Valencia. We had an intensive economical boom going on with the exportation of oranges, and many public buildings were constructed during this period. From here you can see beautiful perspective of these amazing buildings. Nowadays they are not used anymore as warehouses. They are empty at the moment. They are used for the citizens of the city to do some sports, come skating. Also there are some concerts happening. During 2008 and 2013 they were used as the paddocks and boxes for the Formula 1 circuit. The circuit was here, so in this street where we are now, this street was part of the race. Now look on your right hand side and you can see the brown building. This is the former terminal for the ships coming from the Balear Islands. It was built in the 70s. Nowadays it's not used anymore. Since 2007 we have a new terminal. We pass, I will show you when we come back. And this white building, now on the right hand side and now it's on the left hand side, is called, we call the clock building. This beautiful white building is also from the beginning of the 20th century. It's also Art Nouveau, modernism style, and it was used as the original railway station. The train station bringing all the products from the city center.
Parlare română!
Sunt 30 de români aici, ar trebui...
Pentru că e o problemă de organizare a lor. Ar trebui în mod normal să ne împartă în două, dacă nu pot să vorbesc într-adevăr. Și grupul nostru să fie în spate și o să pot să traduc aici. Acum spune că deranjez pe ăștia.
Pe cine?
Okay, so as I was telling you, this white building, for you to have a contextualization of the city. This white building was a train station where all the products were arriving, because now we are going to be driving to the city center. The city center is 8 kilometers far from the harbor. So that means like all the products were arriving, and this street was no one ground. It was empty space until the beginning of the 20th century. That was no part of the city of Valencia. Here you have to imagine there were only some warehouses and some factories, steel factories, producing boats and pieces for the harbor. Why the city of Valencia was not founded by the sea? This is very important, because the city of Valencia is a very old city. It's a very old city. It was founded by the Romans in the year 138 before Jesus Christ, and it was founded by the river Turia, on the source of the river Turia. Why was not founded by the sea? Because Valencia was never a defensive city. Now look on the left hand side. This is some of the warehouses that I was telling you about. Some of them are being now transformed into art centers. Here you have one example, and here you can see this empty space, because many of these industrial buildings were demolished. It was the plan to construct new buildings, new houses. during the economical boom of 2005-2008, but then the crazy crisis, when you know the real estate crisis in Spain, the bubble exploded and many of these projects were stopped. So as I was telling you, now we are going towards the river Turia. This is very important. It was the place where the Romans founded the city of Valencia, and it is such an interesting detail because it's telling us that Valencia was never meant to be a defensive city. Valencia was created by the Romans as a market, as a production place, as a city where ceramics, food, and textiles were being produced to be exported to the rest of the Roman Empire. Have you been in Barcelona? Are you going to Barcelona? Probably, no? Okay, so the Roman Barcelona, Barcino was the name Romans gave to Barcelona. It was founded by the sea because it was a defensive city and they had to protect the city. But Valencia, created with the name Valentia Edetanorum, which means strength, correct? It was founded by the river Turia, more or less 7 kilometers inland. So the river Turia, as you know now, as I'm telling you, it was the origin of the city of Valencia, and still nowadays it is very important. It's a characteristic trait of the city because we have a river without water. We have a river of 15 kilometers crossing the city north to south without water. How can this be? What do you think? Was there global warming happening here? No, we had a big flood in 1951, a huge flood. The whole city was underwater, more than 5 meters, and it was decided at that time, we had the government of Franco, it was decided to transfer the river outside of the city. So we have now a new river, like 2 kilometers from the port where you have arrived. And 1951 we had the political government of Franco. It was a dictatorship, and they have a very deep expertise in civil engineering, in creating bridges and new rivers and all these big works. So the river became empty, and the idea was to create a highway with shopping malls. So the idea was like a highway was going to cross the city and people could stop to buy things. That was a very popular idea in the 50s, 60s, with the mentality that it was then bursting. No? We had the capitalism. But the citizens of Valencia didn't want to have a highway crossing the street. They wanted to have gardens, gardens for the people. So they were resisting, they were demonstrating against the project. And then Franco died in 1975, and at the end, the project of the Gardens of the Turia started in 1980 with the first trees which were planted by the citizens of Valencia. At the beginning, the citizens, in order to collect money, there were certain stamps that were made to collect the money for planting the trees. Now, we are here in front of the river Turia. On the left-hand side, you can see a beautiful sculpture. The artist is a Valencian artist called Ripollès. And you can see on the top, this is a sun, but in the interior we have a paella, a saucepan, a frying pan de paella. Do you know paella? Yes? So, do you know that paella is original from Valencia? Yes. We are the creators of paella. So this monument, this sculpture, it is telling us about the importance of reading, the importance of cultivating our imagination, of keeping the books alive, keeping imagination and reading alive. So in Valencia, we have more than 300 days of sun. Valencia is a very sunny place. This sun that you can see here in the roundabout means, like in Valencia, more than 300 days per year of sun. This means like we do a lot of outdoors activities. The gardens of Turia that we are going to explore now are proof of this. We enjoy to do sport, to be outside. We enjoy to have concerts outside. There's also open cinema in the summer. We also have marathons, or we used to have the marathons. A lot of activities for the citizens of Valencia, and normally these activities are free. Valencia is now having this policy of implementing all these free activities for the citizens. Now, if you look on the left-hand side at the end, you can see the City of Art and Sciences by Santiago Calatrava. This is going to be our last stop. And this is the River Turia, the former River Turia, the old bed of the River Turia. Nowadays is the gardens of the Turia. If you look on the right-hand side now, and we are going to see the first project, which was built in 1986, the Palace of the Music. Now we have 15 kilometers full of different projects, gardens, concert halls. We also have jogging places. We have sportive areas for playing rugby, for playing soccer, for playing basketball. And the first project was created in 1986. It is this white building on the right hand side. The name is Palace of the Music. It is a building devoted to classical music. And here the directors, the best directors of classical music, they say it has a perfect acoustic. Also you can see the gardens. They were designed by Ricardo Bofill, a Catalonian architect. And these gardens are a homage to the earlier civilizations of Valencia, the Romans and the Arabs. And this is why we can see these columns, these architectural details in both sides of the fountain. Now you can see the building. Like a curiosity, here in Valencia, this building was called with the nickname of the microwave because it has a strange shape, like a 60s vintage microwave, and also because in the opening they had forgotten the air condition. Yeah, so it was a little bit warm, cold, hot. Nowadays it's fixed, so next time if you come to Valencia and you stay a little bit longer, don't worry. Now look the gardens. Here this is a Mediterranean garden. We have all the typical species from Mediterranean area, the pine trees, the orange trees, the olive trees also, and on the ground, now they are not working, but there are some fountains, Arabic fountains, in the style of Alhambra. Now we are going to start discovering the city center. We are entering now to a neighborhood which is called Eixample. Eixample means widening. It was created after the 19th century. So now we are entering to the modern city, the city born after the 19th century. In the period of the industrialization, in the period of the modernist architecture. So if you look to both sides, right and left, you can discover all these beautiful buildings, palaces, and you can discover all the modernist style in the ironwork in the balconies and in the facade, also in the wooden doors. Each of them is completely different. They are inspired in nature, vegetation. The modernist style here in Valencia is very sweet and exuberant. If you compare it with Barcelona, when you go to Barcelona, you will discover, like in Barcelona, the modernist style is more geometric. Meanwhile, here in Valencia, it's very gentle. It really has this feeling like a wedding cake or something like this. Now, so pay attention to all the details in the balconies. The beautiful ornaments. Each house is completely different. That was the neighborhood of the high bourgeoisie or aristocracy. It's one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Valencia. At the moment we are in the city center. This is the commercial area where all the boutiques are located. And we are going to discover now on the left hand side the Columbus Market, Colón Market in Spanish. This market was built by Demetrio Rivers, the architect, at the beginning of the 20th century, inspired in the work of Gaudi. Do you know Gaudi? Yeah, from Barcelona. So here you can see Gaudi inspiration, the mosaics, and these ornaments created with the different tiles. You can see the combination of red bricks, iron, glass, and different materials. Nowadays it's not a market. Since 2007 it's a shopping mall, like a boutique shopping mall with beautiful restaurants and some boutiques. Later we are going to see the exterior of the Central Market, which is also a modernist market, but it's still used as a market. So we are going to have another market today. So remember, the beginning of the 20th century was very important for Valencia, because with the economical expansion of agriculture, the exportations of oranges and different products, industrialization, a lot of money and economical boom was happening here, was coming to the city, and the bourgeois class was very positive, and they were financing a lot of buildings. So there was this positive vibe of progress, of industrialization, progress, and abundance. Now we are in the city center. This is the commercial center of Valencia. We are entering now the Columbus Street, Colón Street, Calle Colón. This is the main shopping arteria of Valencia, and also it's very important historically, because here underneath the bus, underneath the pavement, there are the ruins of the medieval walls of Valencia. So in the base of this street, we used to have here the medieval walls of Valencia until the 19th century, which makes Valencia very special, because this street is acting as a frontier, as a border between the medieval city of Valencia on the right hand side. You can see here on the right hand side the ruins of the Jewish gate of the medieval wall of Valencia. That was the Jewish neighborhood. Nowadays we have El Corte Inglés, the department store, and all the commercial streets. And if you look on the left hand side, this is the modern city of Valencia, built after the 19th century. So you can see the difference between left hand side, the big, the white street, there is a urbanistic plan, and the right hand side, the medieval city of Valencia. The streets are smaller, are concentrical. There is not a clear urbanistic plan. And so this street is very important, and thanks to the walls being demolished only at the end of the 19th century, which is quite recent in history, we have preserved very well the medieval city of Valencia. Now you can see today is very quiet, because they just open. It is about 10 o'clock now. So all the shops are open from 10 o'clock in the morning until 10 o'clock at night. There is no siesta time here. This is a myth. People are open all the day. And also it's August, and people are on holidays, and this year also it's been very quiet. So normally this street is very, very, very busy, and with a lot of traffic. Now, if you look on the right hand side, you can see this small street, part of the medieval center. Nowadays, most of these streets are pedestrian. The city center of Valencia is under construction, so today probably we are going to pass by a lot of construction sites, because it's becoming more and more pedestrian, which is very nice. The idea is that Valencia will become a green city, and all the city center will be without cars. So if you look on the right hand side, you can see one of these pedestrian streets. Also today we are going to see probably some monuments in the street because next week we have our big festival happening, Fallas, which normally was happening in March, but last year due to the COVID was postponed. So we will celebrate it next week. Now, if you look on the left hand side, we are going to pass by two very important buildings for Valencia. First one is the bull ring, the bullfighting ring from the 18th century, inspired in the Colosseum of Nimes and also in the Colosseum of Rome. And it is one of the biggest arenas in Spain. And we have also a bullfighting school here. Now, next building is the Central Railway Station. It's a beautiful modernist building with the oranges, garlands, and all the ceramics. And here you see one of these monuments, the Fallas, what I was telling you. Have you seen it on the left hand side? And we are going to see some of them because they are getting prepared. What is Fallas? Fallas is it is a festivity to celebrate the arrival of spring, the purification of fire. So normally it is happening always between the 15th and the 19th of March. But as I told you last year, as we all know, we were at home, nothing could happen, so it was postponed and they are going to be burned next week. The origin of this festivity is the recreation by the carpenters of the city. When the spring was arriving, they didn't need to use the lights so long, no? During the day, so they were leaving the lights, and the festivity was evolving, and they were creating some sculptures depicting the bad things or the things they didn't like. They wanted to purify, they wanted to burn, and little by little that was evolving into a very big festivity with a lot of color. And we could compare it with the idea of the carnival. You know carnivals? The carnivals in February in many parts of the world, so it's the same idea. It's a very satiric party where with a lot of humor we are making party and we are burning the things that we don't like to see anymore. Now we are driving in the extension of Columbus Street. This is Sativa Street, and we are still driving in the pace of the old medieval walls of the city. So all the time on the right hand side we have the old city of Valencia, the medieval city. Here you can see the gardens of the public library, and very important this building because during the Middle Ages it was the first psychiatric hospital of all Europe. Yes, we are going to learn more about this later when we are in the walking tour, but here in Valencia we had a priest. His name was Padre Jofre, and he decided to take care, to protect all the crazy people, mental handicapped people who were beaten and were normally attacked and murdered in the streets because they were considered possessed by devil. Yeah? So here in Valencia we had this first institution, and now you can see, we are going to see on the right hand side very soon the Puertas de Quart, the gates of Quart. They are one of the 12 original gates of the medieval walls of Valencia. So the medieval wall of Valencia originally had 12 gates, and only 2 gates have survived. The rest of the gates were demolished at the end of the 19th century. So you can have an idea now, when we pass by, everybody now look on the right hand side, so you can have an idea of how was the feeling of the medieval city. We had a wall, so on the right hand side all you could see was medieval walls. The city was completely closed, and to enter the city you had to do it through the gates. The gates, they had wooden doors which were closed at 12 o'clock at night, and if you were late, if you were not on time, you were left under the moon of Valencia. Under the moon of Valencia means you were left on your own luck, because it was very dangerous. It was very dangerous to remain outside the city of Valencia. Now look on the right hand side, Puertas de Quart. You can see all the destruction, all the all the halls made by walls, and here the entrance. You can see here also a little piece of the wall. These gates are from the 15th century, inspired in Castelnuovo of Napoli. And in a few minutes we are going to descend the bus. We are going to leave the bus and start our walking tour. And we are going to start by the gates of Serrano. The gates of Serrano are the oldest ones and are the original gates. So the original city of Valencia, the Roman city of Valencia, was founded by the Romans in this place. So near the River Turia. Here they had a fluvial harbor. Now, if you look on the right hand side, this is the Contemporary Art Museum, IBAM. In Valencia, we have a lot of culture, we have a lot of museums. It's a very interesting city to discover. And now we are going to start in a few minutes our walking tour in the city center, in the old city, which was the original Roman city, and then later in the 7th century Valencia was conquered by the Arabs, and they were coming, or the Moors. They were coming from the north of Africa, and they stayed here for 5 centuries. Also, the old neighborhood was the aristocratic or the nobiliary city of the Arabs, until the 13th century, when the city was again conquered by the Catholic king James I, Jaime I. Okay, so for the passengers who are coming with me in the English-speaking group, now we are going down, and I will be giving you the audios, and we will start doing the tour. So we are now going down, and I will distribute the audios, and we will start